Back in St. Louis for game number 2 tonight. It's the Pirates and Cardinals in this 3-game series as the Cardinals will wrap up their homestand tomorrow against the Buccos in day baseball. This is good to see. Matt Holliday back to baseball-related activities. We could see him in the lineup very, very soon. And along with my partner, Al Urbanski, I'm McClellan, and welcome to Cardinals baseball. And no Matt Holliday, a struggling Albert Pujols, and it equals a struggling offense.
It really changes the dynamic of this offense. So that was really good news to see not only Holliday play catch a little bit, but he did a little jogging. So realistically, he could be back in the lineup as early as this weekend. And that will really change things because Albert, as you said, is not swinging the bat right now. Pitchers are taking advantage of him. With Holliday, who had a great start to opening day, he really is a difference maker. He intimidates the opposing pitching staff, so we really need to get him back there, and then everyone else can just settle in.
Now, the Cardinals have done this before, using a reliever and moving him into the starting rotation, but Cal McClellan, 202 appearances in the bullpen prior to his first start in the big leagues, which comes tonight for his hometown team, the St. Louis Cardinals, and this is something, Al, that he's always wanted to do.
Well, he's always been a starter through the minor leagues. His last start, matter of fact, was 07 at A-ball in Peoria. But he's been an outstanding reliever for Tony La Russa. It really does make sense because he's a 4-pitch pitcher. He has 4 outstanding pitches, and that's why you think he can go 3 or 4 times through a lineup.
One of the guys that has to step it up offensively, and so far so good, right fielder Lance Berkman. A closer look at the former Astro when we come back on Fox Sports Midwest. Of 2009, Lance Berkman having a little fun before taking on his team now, the St. Louis Cardinals. And Lance Berkman is in the lineup tonight. He'll bat cleanup behind Albert Pujols. What's it mean for him to be in St. Louis?
Yeah, no, I mean, it's fun. We've had a good rivalry. Enjoyed playing against these guys for a long time, and it's great to be one of them now.
And it has been quite a career for Lance Berkman, over 1,600 games, Al.
Well, outstanding to see the 327 home runs. That's fifth best by all time by a switch hitter. And Lance in the early going has really responded. He's hit over 300. He's hitting 333. That was a question that he answered here in spring training, and he's got a good start to the season. One thing you'll notice, even in these clips, he's running very well. The surgically repaired knee is really no problem. He even steals a base right here. He scored from second on a hit to the outfield yesterday. So all things right now are going very well for Lance Berkman.
It's a busy night in downtown St. Louis. Hockey and baseball. We'll get you caught up. Where to find those games next. Louis, game 2 between the Pirates and the Cardinals. Well, tonight, Fox Sports Midwest is televising both the Blues game against the Avalanche and the Cardinals and Pirates game right here. You'll find the Blues game on Fox Sports Midwest secondary channel. All you have to do is go to foxsportsmidwest.com to find channel listings. If you stay with us, you'll see Andrew McCutchen tonight. He's in the lineup for the Pittsburgh Pirates. Homered in game 1. Game 2 just around the corner. and it has manager Tony La Russa searching for answers. Albert Pujols is off to a slow start, and slugger Matt Holliday, he's out with injury. Over the weekend, it was the Padres taking 2 of 3 from the Redbirds. The only win was the brilliant pitching of Jaime Garcia on Sunday. Last night, Kyle Loesch only made 2 mistakes, and it cost him a 4-3 Pirates win. So this evening, the Cardinals turn to a former reliever to get the Birds back on track, and that's Kyle McClellan. The St. Louisan has said this game will be a dream come true as he gets the start for the first time in his big league career for the team he rooted for as a child. It's McClellan and the Cardinals in Game 2 against the Pirates, next on Fox Sports Midwest. Louis Cardinals here in 2011. Plenty of experience. Kyle Loesch, 269 starts. Garcia has a year of starting under his belt. Jay Westbrook, nearly 200. Chris Carpenter, nearly 300. Kyle McClellan, number 1 here tonight. And he's ready to go. He warmed up very quickly.
Kyle's finding out there's something new. These umpires won't let you pitch until 7:15. So he's had to wait about a minute plus. As you know, he's anxiously awaiting this childhood dream to pitch and start a game for his hometown, the team he grew up rooting. This is a dream come true for him, and you know he's got a ton of butterflies, and you almost got to, you know, you just know he's going to go deeper into games because he's worried himself to death over this one.
Tabata looks at the ball a little bit low, so Kyle McClellan fulfilling that childhood dream and making a start here this evening for the Cardinals. And quickly, it's 2 balls and no strikes.
202 minor league, big league relief appearances before he makes his first start. So he's achieved a lot of success, Dan. 3 great years out of the bullpen. Every year, you know, his ERA went down. The opponent's batting average went down.
And that is ripped into left center field for a leadoff base hit. Tabata trying to stretch it to 2. Into second base, in there safely. Leadoff double. Clint Hurdle's lineup. And this team is playing very good baseball at 3-1 on the year. Tabata, Walker, and McCutchen, who homered last night. Then Overbay, Alvarez, Diaz, Carmillo, Cedeno, and James McDonald, the former Dodger. There's a look at your buddy Clint Hurdle.
Well, he's the right man for the Pirates right now.
bunting here in the first inning. Let's go back to that. Why do you think he's the right guy?
Well, I think his personality. One, he's a great communicator. He has a gift of gab, but he knows how to go to young players. He kind of told me today that this is a lot like the Colorado team that he took over when he first went there and got them to the World Series. Now, he knows he's got a lot of work here. He also knows he's got some talent, but he wants them to have some fun. He's a great communicator. Maybe John Russell, was a good baseball man, but John was kind of that way laid back, stoic, didn't really communicate well. And I think Clint's going to be out there. He's trying to do some novel things with these young guys. And one thing, they were death row when they went on the road last year. Less than 20 road wins. They're off to a great start on the road.
That's hammered but foul. Now, I talked to a scout today. I said, give me 3 players that you'll watch out for with the Pirates this year. And he said it's very easy. Tabata, McCutchen, Alvarez. He said those 3 guys at some point will turn out to be stars in this league.
And I think a lot of people are going to talk about Neil Walker. He's a Pittsburgh native. He had a good start last season to his big league career. Great start. Already 7 RBIs.
Strikes out here on a pitch that was tailing away off speed. And Walker tried to bunt and then at least pull the ball. Couldn't do that for the first out. Strikeout first for McClellan. Defense brought to you by Dobbs with Craig in left, Rasmussen center, Berkman is right. Freeze, Terrio, Schumacher, and Pujols along the infield. McClellan and Gerald Laird get the start behind the plate. That's a look at your Dobbs defense.
Well, most people will tell you right now the best player in the Pirates is in the batter's box. That's McCutchen.
Do you find it interesting that they have dropped him to 3rd in the order?
No, I think because he has the ability to be a real run producer. A lot of people thought, the first year or two, you see him in the leadoff spot, but Tabata's doing that job. Now put this guy where he belongs. 3rd place hitter, usually your best hitter.
0-1 pitch, fouled back, 0-2.
A lot of people think the 05 draft was a real good one, and we have 2 pretty good ones on display here. McCutchen was in that. Kobe Rasmus was in that draft, along with a whole bunch of good guys, and we'll probably get to that later. But McCutchen was rated as the best center fielder in the National League.
There's that breaking ball by McClellan. Andrew McCutchen was a first-round selection, 11th overall back in 2005, and Colby was in the late 20s as far as overall picks. Here's a 1-2 pitch. Check swing. Did he go? Yes, he did. A strikeout. So back-to-back strikeouts following the double allowed by Kyle McClellan.
Well, Kyle got in a little trouble with Tabata, the first hitter, falling behind the count, had to go fastballs. But there you see the great curveball. And when you got a young team like the Pirates, they can hit the fastball. So if you can throw breaking balls for strikes, or in this case, take an overly aggressive young hitting team and get them to get themselves out, swinging pitches in the dirt, both strikeouts have been out of the strike zone. Here's one of their true veteran guys that probably has a little better knowledge of the strike zone.
Lyle Overbay back in the National League. He's been with Arizona and Milwaukee in the National League. Last 4 years with Toronto. We saw him in interleague play. Overbay is hitting an even .200 to start the year. No home runs and 1 driven in. Rasmus shades him to pull just a bit. And it's 1 ball, 1 strike.
Kyle McClellan, Dan, we know he has such good stuff. Actually, he has 4+ pitches that it's hard to master all those when you're pitching relief. So you'll really get to see how good his stuff is in the rotation.
Good pitch.
Good change up right there. But see the location. I mean, a left-handed hitter can't hit a ball that's down and away out of the strike zone. It looks like it's in a strike. You see the same arm action as fastball, but just enough tailing action. And if you get them to expand the zone, you're in the driver's seat.
That was the pitch in talking with Kyle that he really worked on in spring, that changeup. He's got a pretty good fastball, excellent curveball, but the changeup.
And that's what he's going to need more importantly in the rotation.
A hanger hit out to right. Berkman is back, looks up, and it's gone. 2-0 Pirates. A breaking ball lifted over the wall in right field. Overbay picks up his first home run. RBIs 2 and 3, and Pittsburgh on top 2-0 here in the first.
Have a rarity. You just don't see Kyle McClellan giving up many home runs, and especially to a left-handed batter. You know, but a hanger neutralizes everything. He has good stuff, but there's a hanging breaking ball. You can see that it starts out belt high, ends up, you know, thigh high. That is a high pitch, you know, when it's a breaking ball, and guys are going to crush that pitch.
And that pitch is a strike to Pedro Alvarez.
You're talking about the 05 draft. Alvarez was drafted by Boston but did not sign, and then went to Vanderbilt and just had phenomenal numbers, and then was 08 he was the Pirates' #1 draft pick. This guy is really a very talented guy. He had less than 200 games in the minor leagues.
And he looks at a called third strike. To McClellan, 3 strikeouts in the first inning, but allows this home run. Lyle Overbay and the Pirates lead it 2-0. Twelve starts and 15 games now with the Buccos, and he broke through as we flash back a couple of years ago. First pitch ever in the big leagues. See you later. And that was the first pitch against the Cardinals, and Mark DeRosa took him over the wall and left. Here's Ryan Theriot. Theriot right now struggling just a bit at 176.
You talk to the Cardinals, and no one's really concerned with him. They call him a grinder, a gamer. He'll figure it out. Maybe a few too many balls he's hit in the air.
I talked to him at length today, Al, about coming over to St. Louis, and he said he really is enjoying the city. He's been here briefly. He said when you're a visiting player, like he was with Chicago or Los Angeles at the end of last year, he said essentially you're at your hotel room and you come to the ballpark and then you go to the airport at the end of the series. You don't have time to really experience the city as Cedeno goes out to make the catch. But he also talked about looking ahead to Chicago and looking forward to seeing the fans at Wrigley Field. And he was a fan favorite there. Theriot, Rasmus, and Pujols here in the first, and then Berkman, Craig, and Freese, Schumacher, Laird, and Kyle McClellan, the pitcher, batting ninth.
We'll talk more about that because I think that he's going to get a curious reception.
Oh, yes, he is.
A couple comments that he made when he left the Cubs to go to the Dodgers.
And he knows that's going to happen.
And that's, you know, and players, they know, you know, it's, you say something and, you know, it becomes fodder for the clubhouse. But, you know, you can't be afraid of that stuff. You look forward to it.
And as he said, they traded me away. I wound up here in St. Louis, so Now I'm looking forward to beating Chicago.
You know, he's living out in Chesterfield. He's got a different drive than he had in L.A. or Chicago. He's moving.
Yes. That is pulled foul. Yeah, traffic not as much an issue here.
No.
That's for certain. 2 balls and 1 strike on Colby Rasmus. I asked him, I said, what's been your best moment, Ryan Theriot, in the game of baseball? And he said, I'd have to say winning the College World Series with LSU. But he said, when you win in Chicago, he said it's unlike any experience you could possibly have. And they won back-to-back times in the Central Division to go to postseason play. But he said, I can't imagine winning a World Series and what that might be like.
Well, we'll never find out, will we?
Not in Chicago, right? Here's Pujols, who's hitting 125. Defense for the Buccos. Tabata, McCutcheon, and Baez in the outfield. Alvarez, Cedeno, Walker, and Overbay along the infield. McDonald and Jaramillo, the battery tonight.
Right now, Dan, there are National League pitchers that are taking advantage of Albert. Not swinging well. The advanced scouts have noticed predominantly they've been pitching him in. That's not McDonald's strength. He's a guy that likes to work the outer half of the plate, and he'll leave a lot of balls up. And he's got a very good changeup. He was the Dodgers minor league pitcher of the year in 07 and 08, and then went to the big leagues as a reliever and exclusively in the rotation since he's come to Pittsburgh. But what pitchers are having success against Albert right now is pitching inside. Now that's going to change because we know he can quick bat. We know he can turn on pitches, but right now pitchers may be able to get him out inside where they won't be able to do it later on in the season. So a lot of pitching coaches will say take advantage of that right now.
1-0 pitch to Pujols outside, 2-0. This time last year, McDonald began the season with Albuquerque, their AAA affiliate. And he was acquired from Los Angeles along with Andrew Lambeau, an outfielder. The deal for pitcher Octavio Dotel. Popped up. Is it playable? No. In the seats about 4 rows back. Albert has talked about his hands, at least in spring training, just being lightning quick. And usually, Al, we've been doing most of his games his entire career. If he's not right, it's usually that he's out front and he'll pop it up or pull it to the left side.
Yes.
A lot of ground balls.
And Dan, when most hitters are always dreaming about having quick hands, he is so phenomenal that his hands are so light and quick, it works to his disadvantage. See, McDonald, you know, as a pitcher, you know, a coach can give you a scouting report, but if it doesn't pitch to your strengths, you can't take advantage of it. So a guy like McDonald is predominantly an outside pitcher. He'll throw a lot of balls elevated. Now you run the risk because you become a fly ball pitcher, and you really got to be careful with the guys that have the strength of Albert.
And he walked him. So back-to-back walks. And it brings in Berkman. Our keys to the game are presented by Toyota. Fewest runs in the National League, and Lance Berkman trying to change that. Only 11 for the Cardinals so far.
Strange, though. It seems like they haven't even scored that many.
Yes. Berkman with an RBI and hitting .333.
And 3 runs or less in all 4 games this season. That hasn't happened since 1980. That team in 80, I believe, went on to lead the league in hitting.
Big difference with Pujols struggling and no Matt Holliday. Berkman slices one foul and out of play. Talking with Lance before the game. So what has this experience been like just so far here in St. Louis? And he says it almost feels like home, even though I spent 12 years with Houston. But with all those games that we played against each other, I know most of the guys, and he said the biggest surprise has been Tony La Russa. He said he actually has a personality, and I'm finding out. He said he's a likable guy, and he said, you know, he's so stoic when you play against him with the dark sunglasses day or night. You don't know what kind of guy he is, and then he's on your side, and he's a different person.
Dan, the first thing Tony does when he goes to a veteran like Berkman, 12 years with Houston, is he goes there and said, hey, look, I know you hated me, you don't like me, everything like this, but you're going to find that I'm a pretty good guy, and I'm a good guy to play for. And that really has been. There's a lot of guys like Batista said, you know, I've always wanted to play for Tony La Russa, have such respect. But seriously, there's a lot of visiting players do not like Tony La Russa until they get on his team.
1 ball and 2 strikes here on Berkman. 2-0 Pittsburgh, 2 runners on. Good rip. And he's another guy, just like Terrio talked about, experiencing the city and enjoying. So far, it's been a brief time here, but he did say as a visiting player for 12 years, you do try to get out and experience the city a little bit more, but now going out in the suburbs, he said he really has enjoyed it. 1 ball and 2 strikes, 2-2.
We'll see. We'll see on the first couple of road trips. He's living very close to Frontenac Plaza. We'll see how his wife does, you know, shopping while he's gone. Which, by the way, his father-in-law played for the Houston Oilers.
Is that right?
Yeah. But he has already made an impact in the clubhouse. Got to show you that little clip of a couple of years ago when he was mimicking Fred Bird and doing a funny job of it. But
the players say to a man he might be the funniest guy in the clubhouse already.
Right, and they were said that in spring training. And yeah, he just kind of got that smile all the time. You know he cares, but he has that air about him to where he can make fun of himself, his teammates. It becomes a very relaxed, settling situation in that clubhouse. You live with these guys for 8 months, it can be tense at times.
2-2. Berkman down the right field line, hooking and foul. Out in front just a bit. Much warmer evening tonight. It's 62 degrees compared to what we had last night. I know you really enjoyed that post-game set. It was nice and warm for you. Nice and cozy with Pat. A little chilly, huh?
It's a little chilly. If we would have had the wind last night, this would have carried. It did have home run distance, but it would have gotten out a little bit quicker. Yeah, they have a nice little wind tunnel there.
I could have told you that, but I wanted you to experience it firsthand.
Oh, thank you, Dan. And I did like your comment. As I said, I will never complain about the heat or the cold of this booth ever again.
It's perfect compared to that. You have a newfound respect for Pat and Ricky on the post-game show. Runners at first and second, 2 balls, 2 strikes. Just underway here in the first inning. The next to Berkman. This is where we also have seen for 12 years he is a tough out.
Well, he's an RBI machine. He's got 1,100 RBIs, 327 home runs, nearly a 300 batting average. He's not going to panic when he comes into a situation like this. You've walked 2 men in front of you. One thing the Cardinals really did a poor job last night of swinging at pitches out of the strike zone.
On the outside corner, strikeout of Berkman on the 2-2 pitch.
I'm not sure that Armillo was not crossed up, but if you get crossed up,
oh yeah,
see,
he was.
He thought it was a fastball or something, but he got the breaking ball, and because it's a slower pitch, was able to adjust, and kind of a little hump in that breaking ball, and a little bit outside. But sometimes the hitter, you're looking at something else, and even though you see it, you just can't pull the trigger. That might have been the case there.
Al, you and I were talking before the game. If there is a blessing in disguise with the injury to Holidays, it's chance for Alan Craig to really get his feet wet here, get some playing time, and get some at-bats.
No doubt about it. He has proven that he can hit at the minor leagues when he plays consistently.
And Craig hits it in the air to right center and taken there by Diaz. 2-0. Pirates after one. Are waiting. Grab some buds by Chevy. See your Mid-America Chevy dealers. By Southwest Airlines. New Rapid Rewards. Unlimited reward seats and no blackout dates. By Dobbs Tire and Auto Centers. #1 in quality tires and expert auto service. And by Steak and Shake. Life needs flavor. Along with the former Fireman of the Year back in 1976. Five. 76 was a good year too for you, Al. I think.
Cardinals Fireman of the Year.
Yes. See, I knew I had it right.
Yes. You always have everything right.
Man, you put me on the spot like that. I'm thinking, I know that. Here is Matt Diaz. 1 ball, 1 strike. The Pirates, Al, have not had a winning season since 1992.
Chuck Tanner was at the helm. Passed away this off season.
And we would see Chuck Tanner every game when we were in Pittsburgh. He would still come out to the ballpark.
Clint Hurdle was talking about it, and I think he's the 39th manager in Pirates history. But he's tried to stress to his ball club that, hey, you want to be a part of this that breaks that 18-game losing streak, the longest in North American sports history.
In on his hands and a ground ball to short. Terrio up with it. 1 away.
And one of the things he tried to stress is that, hey, the Pirates at one time, and I can attest to it, that they were a very proud franchise that had great winning teams. The Lumber and Lightning Company. But you think about those great teams in the 70s, and you think about Clemente and Azarowski and all the players they had. Bill Verdon was here, who helps out in spring training, lives down in Springfield, and he's in attendance here tonight. This is very proud. It was always a football city, but they had some great baseball teams.
And now they have arguably one of the best baseball parks in the big leagues. They just have not been able to get it together to put a winning team on the field, but the facility is second to none.
Absolutely. It's a little bit smaller, very intimate, and a very special place with a great, spectacular view of the downtown, and they have some young teams. You Ricky, touched on it last night. You do not want to play a team like the Pirates early in the season. They have a new manager that's got their enthusiasm level very, very high. They don't know that they are not going, that I will predict they probably will finish 500 this year. Especially when I saw last night Hanrahan and Morton and these young pitchers, the young hitters and stuff, I think they're improved enough to where they could finish 500. But they think they can win right now.
That's a base hit at the middle. They're falling behind 3-0. Worked it to 3-2. And a base hit for Jaramillo. And it brings in Ronnie Cedeno. Right back up the middle we go.
He fell behind the leadoff man. He got a double. Now he falls behind Jaramillo. As a pitcher, you do not want to give free passes. Make them hit their way on. Hey, you hit the ball, it's got a chance you can go right at somebody. So I commend, I always sit there and say, do a great job because you didn't walk them.
Tell us a little bit about Gerald Laird and how well he throws.
He's recognized as the third best. He was the third best throwing percentage in the American League last season. He was the starting catcher for Detroit. He lost his job because he couldn't hit. And yet Jim Leland and Dean Lamont and everybody associated with the Tigers last year loved this guy, and they sit there and they said, hey, he's a much better hitter than what he displayed. Whether he just freaked out going to free agency or whatever it was, it kind of snowballed on him. But the one thing that Tony La Russa said, we are very fortunate. We had Jason LaRue, did an outstanding job, and he retired. We got the best guy that was available to back up Yachty and also to understand that he's a backup. We've seen a lot of clubs where guys get into friction, have problems because they don't understand you've got a two-time All-Star, a three-time Gold Glove winner that is your number one catcher. You're very important in this ball club, but you're the backup.
2 balls, 2 strikes. Short lead at first. Foul tip. We'll do it again. Cedeno, we've seen him with the Chicago Cubs. He was with Seattle, now with Pittsburgh. Speaking of Seattle, Brendan Ryan is their starting shortstop. Jack Wilson is at second base.
And Brendan Ryan, Adam Kennedy pinch hit for him late last night. He's batting .083.
Swing, a miss, and a strikeout. That is number 4 for McClellan here in the first 2 innings. And it brings in James McDonald.
Kyle, kind of a power guy. He's got 4 great pitches. You talked a little bit about how the changeup is going to be a pitch he knows that he couldn't really utilize out of the bullpen, but in the starting rotation, that's going to be a very necessary pitch for him. The outstanding 12 curveball, good sinking fastball. He's got that changeup, and as a reliever, he really developed a cutter to help him against left-handed batters. McDonald not noted for his hitting. He was 0 for 20 before he got his first base hit.
1 ball and 2 strikes.
His father, he knows, maybe familiar to some of the Rams fans. His father was a tight end in the NFL, James, for the Rams out in L.A.
Fouled back.
This guy's kind of a work in progress. He did start a game against the Cardinals late. He gave up a solo home run to Alan Craig, and that's all in 6 innings, but got the loss as P.J. Walters pitched the game of his life. For a non-hitting pitcher, he's hanging in there.
One-two pitch in the dirt. 2-2. Cubs win today. They beat the Diamondbacks 6-5. Only final that's in the books today.
It's like Cincinnati has continued their role.
McClellan, first time through the lineup, 5 strikeouts in his first start in the big leagues. And P.J. Walters, one of the best starts he has ever made, certainly in the big leagues.
7 shutout innings. He won that ball game, and he was the winning pitcher over today's starter for the Pirates, James McDonald. He only gave up 1 run in that game, and there it is, a solo home run shot off the bat of Alan Gray. So McDonald pitched very well when he came over at the midseason trade from the Dodgers.
2-0 Pittsburgh as the bottom of the second rolls in. Understand temperatures tomorrow afternoon will be in the 70s. And beautiful day for baseball. The Cardinals have that dynamic deal going on. Terrace level seating for only $5.
I think there's going to be a little run on tickets tomorrow.
And as Freeze pops it foul, you can get field box seats for $17. And the Legends Club, which is all your food and beverage, that's only $50.
$50 and all-inclusive food.
Yeah.
Wow.
All-inclusive, $50. If you're downtown and you're thinking about maybe taking a quick lunch break, come on over to the ballpark for $5 and watch some baseball.
That'll be a good pitching matchup as Carpenter against their opening day starter, Correa.
Carpenter was very good on opening day. He deserved to win.
Yes, he did. He only gave up 2 hits, but somehow they manufactured 2 runs out of those hits. Got a no decision, but he pitched very well.
2-2 pitch. Freeze fouls back in a good cut.
And I had a chance to talk to, talking about starting pitching. Westbrook had the off game on Saturday. He's not going to have those control problems. He'll be fine. But, I thought that Kyle Loesch, there were so many pluses in that game last night. I know he wasn't happy with giving up 4 runs in 7 innings and giving up all 4 runs in the 1 inning, the 6th inning. But he was very proud that he came back in the 7th and pitched effectively. And those first 5 innings, everything was down. All of his pitches were down. He got ground balls and a lot of strikeouts. When he got the ball up, those were physical mistakes. He got hurt.
Freeze strikes out. One of this year's best values is the Grand Slam Ticket Act on Monday through Thursday games. You can get 4 tickets, 4 hot dogs, 4 sodas for just $60. Grand Slam friendly value deal. Tickets are available at Cardinals.com.
Schumacher up here, he's kind of that double leadoff guy. But Jaramillo just did something. The catcher went out right in front of Skip and motioned to his third baseman, first baseman pitcher, look out for the bunt.
Broken bat, slowly hit to second. 2 outs.
Sometimes by doing that, it just tells the hitter, don't try it. They may think something, I'm gonna try and drop down a bunt here, get a cheap little hit.
That's interesting.
But by just the catcher doing it, or sometimes a pitcher will do it, it tells the hitter, oh, I can't do that because they're looking for it.
Going back to Westbrook for just a moment as we get a look at McDonald, who will face Gerald Laird. He's got now 4 days to think about that start. And Kyle McClellan, who had 200+ relief appearances, you have 1 bad outing, you may be back out there the next day. For starting pitcher, you got to sit there and it must eat at you to think about those starts.
No doubt about it. When you take a guy that, had been in the rotation or is kind of borderline, and, they say, I'm going to straighten you out, I'm going to send you to the bullpen. It doesn't work. It doesn't work because you sit down there and get more rust on you. But if you have a defined role in the bullpen, like Kyle had, pretty much that 8th guy, get the ball to Ryan Franklin for those 3 years. You love it because you have a chance to compete every day. But you're right. You have a couple bad starts, in the rotation. That's 2 weeks of just sitting there of misery saying, I haven't helped my team one bit yet.
But he does get to swing the bat.
And I'm anxious to see this because in his junior and senior year in high school, he was an all-state pitcher and first baseman.
That's correct.
So he had to be a pretty good hitter.
Laird checked his swing.
But who wasn't? I didn't see your hand raised.
I'm going to raise my hand.
No.
2 balls, 2 strikes on Gerald Laird. In the air to center field. Cardinals will go in order. McCutchen puts it away. Top of the order for the Pirates coming up. We move to the third, and it's 2-0. Association and helping Japan's children in need. Visit unicef.org or text Japan to 864-233 to donate. Standard text messaging and fees apply. For more information, visit MLB.com/Japan Relief. Third inning rolls in at Busch Stadium, and the first pitch is a strike to Tabata, their leadoff man. McClellan, first time through the lineup, struck out 5. That's pulled foul. I mentioned this last night that Clint Hurdle talked about moving Tabata to the top of this lineup as a leadoff man, dropping down McCutchen for the reason that you gave. He's a RBI man in their opinion, but also how Tabata can handle a curveball, let it get deeper in and not overly commit, take more pitches, and hopefully, in his mind, draw more walks.
Great asset when you can let that ball get deep on you and you still feel you have that bat speed that you can pull the trigger.
There's a grounder to Skip Schumacher for the out.
Keep a lot of balls fair. Now we talk about Albert, his ability on when people pitch him inside, he can still hit the ball fair. Of course, McCutchen has many of those same similarities. And the ball that he hit for the home run off last night was a ball that was up and in, and yet he hit it into the visitors' bullpen, where most people would take that ball and yank it foul.
Good pitch, sinking action, and strike one. Neil Walker, as Al told you, off to a tremendous start with 7 RBIs, and this being only game 5 for the Buccos.
Said Bill Mazeroski. Pirates' great World Series hero with a walk-off home run in Game 7. And, a great second baseman in his own right. He was in spring training longer this year than ever before to work with Neil Walker at second.
Really?
Always said guys like Maz and, the design now that everyone wants to slide it head first. Eddie Matthews, over at third base, or Mazeroski at second base. You wouldn't be doing that too often on those guys. They might miss the first pitch or something, might sail and get into center field, but you might get up with a broken hand or a shoulder dislocated as they drop a knee on you.
McClellan steps and throws for the out.
Good athlete, field his own position. Jaime was so good in his start on Sunday, but that final throw that he made to Albert was a little shaky.
Just step and throw, right?
Well, take that little crow hop, put a little bit on it, but Jaime, a comebacker, the 27th out, right back to him, and then he kind of airmailed one that almost threw it away over at first base. But what a job he did on Sunday.
Here's McCutchen. You and I got a scouting report on the new Missouri head basketball coach by John Jay, who knows everything about Miami Hurricanes football, basketball, and sports.
And it was very favorable for the new coach.
Just missed on the outside corner. 1 ball, 1 strike.
Maybe in the minority, but you know, he went to the University of Miami and he was a big fan and gave a very, very favorable scout report.
He told me that he hardly ever missed a game. And I told him you were probably only one of a handful in the seats. Here's a 1-2 pitch to McCutchen.
Isn't one of his strengths recruiting?
One of his main strengths. Frank Haith, the new head basketball coach at Mizzou, was introduced today, and the decision was finalized last night. And he has ties to the Big 12. He was an assistant coach at Texas as well as Texas A&M. And hopefully we'll get a chance to visit with Frank if he comes through town. I'm sure he will.
And I was reading in the paper that there was at least one fan that thought, you want to make a little impact at Mizzou? Hire Bobby Knight. Wouldn't that have been something?
We could have gotten the scoop from Tony.
Right. They would have been on the front page a lot.
Absolutely.
And I'm, for one, is one of Tony's good friends, but I'm a Bobby Knight fan.
Oh, I would see you fitting in perfectly in a conversation with Bob Knight.
Maybe I could teach him how to throw chairs or something.
So a walk by McClellan to McCutchen, and it brings in the cleanup man Overbay. Took a breaking ball and deposited that ball into the bullpen in right for a 2-0 lead. That's where we stand here with 2 outs in the top of the third.
Hanging breaking ball, just totally missed location. But we know Kyle is very, very good and still trying to replace his innings out of that bullpen. And one of his strengths was retiring not only right-handed batters, but his ability to get lefties out.
First pitch to Overbay. A long look by McClellan. Time called.
By design, as Laird will look into the dugout, and that's a set play to where they put a signal to where Kyle is just to hold the ball, to find out, take the spring out of the legs of a base stealer. You throw over, you do this a little bit, you just take that little aggressiveness out of this young team. You know, they should be making all, you know, really doing the running game. There's one, you got a guy that's got great speed. Pressure the defense.
There he goes. Chance for Laird. Throw is there. Got him. Laird, a bullet to second base, and they get McCutchen. And a strong throw by that man. Here in the Cardinals half of the third.
Dan, we always talk how the base stealers steal off the pitcher. And Tony takes a lot of pride in controlling the running game. Curious where you have the best National League or best catcher in baseball throwing right now, and out here Molina, who was 0 for 2 at the first caught stealing, is Gerald Laird.
3 strikeouts, first time through the lineup for McClellan, or rather for McDonald, excuse me, and got McClellan.
It's a good jump right there, but you get a good throw right over the bag. If you see really close, he's actually safe, but it looks that he's going to be out because it's just a perfect, the throw is right there. The Terrio's waiting to receive the ball, play the tag down. But remember, it was the step off and the throw over that maybe just took a little bit. You kind of lose that aggressiveness. You kind of don't have the quick start because you're thinking that they're aware that you're going to try and steal. And McCutchen said he's trying to steal more this year.
Time called. This is Ryan Theriot. No balls and a strike.
If you didn't believe me about Gerald Laird's throwing arm, I think you saw we're okay.
Very good. Very good. Here's the 0-1 pitch. And this year, unlike other years for Gerald Laird, trying to keep himself sharp by not being a guy that plays every day. And talking with Jeff Murphy, who works out in the bullpen and one of the coaches of the Cardinals, Molina, Laird, and Murph will be out there usually 2 times a week throwing down to second at about 1 o'clock in the afternoon. They'll get to the ballpark here early and just make sure that they're still sharp with their throws.
You practice. You constantly practice, and it's a credit to Molina, who's now really become a star in this game. 3 consecutive Gold Gloves, 2-time All-Star last 2 years. That's still willing to put in the work and make yourself better. So they'll work on not only the throwing, but to block the balls in the dirt. All the little things that come up in a game that will help you win.
A count of 2 balls, 2 strikes on Theriot.
You look at the Pirates. Hurdle says, hey, we got a young team here. You are not a finished product. Very few guys get to the big leagues and know how to really totally play the game. So a lot more teaching at the major league level.
Theriot hits it down the right field line. It is slicing and foul.
Yesterday, Clint Hurdle had his pitchers PFP, pitchers fielding practice before, early in the afternoon, and today they had extra hitting. Got to make these guys, hey, if you want to break that losing streak, you've got to put in a lot more time. You guys are better, but you still have not reached the level of your physical talent. And we're going to give you the opportunity. We're going to push you. We're going to teach you, and put in the work, and it'll pay off.
And a walk to Theriot. Take the Cardinals with you wherever you go this season. Subscribe to MLB.tv today to see every Cardinals game live or on demand on your computer and your favorite devices. Visit Cardinals.com to order and get more details at MLB.tv. Baseball is everywhere.
3 walks already to the Cardinals against a pitcher when he was in the minor leagues was labeled as, in the minor leagues, that McDonald for the Dodgers organization, best control and best changeup. But if you really look at him, he's more of a thrower. He's still trying to really learn and learn how to set up hitters, how to get them out, and he'll make a lot of pitches out over the middle of the plate.
Taken outside. First time up, Rasmus walked. Al talked about it earlier, that draft class of 2005, first rounders, outstanding players that came out of that draft. 2 balls and no strikes. And here it is, Ryan Zimmerman, the third baseman, 4th overall pick. Ryan Braun, who was a third baseman, moved to the outfield. Tulowitzki, shortstop of the Rockies. McCutchen, you see there, Jay Bruce, who just signed a long-term deal with Cincinnati.
Not Tulowitzki's deal.
Remarkable. Colby pops it up. Jaramillo will give it a look. That'll find the seats out of play.
Colby hit 23 home runs last year. and he added to his home run total of his rookie season. But McCutchen, you know, has been labeled as the best center fielder in the National League. Now, if I'm Kobe Rasmus, I got to sit there and go, hey, at one time, I think I was rated higher than you. You've kind of passed me by. But use that as motivation to get better.
Mark McGwire, and it's been a topic that's been talked about the last year and a half or so, about Colby working with his dad. And Colby has said he feels very comfortable in the advice that his dad gives him on stance and whatnot in the game. And McGwire, to his credit, said, I don't mind that at all. If he feels comfortable doing that and getting advice from dad and what we are able to provide him, I'm all for it. If that means he feels more comfortable and can hit and produce, why not?
This game is so mental. So every little edge that a player can take with him, you know, you may not understand it, but if it makes the player feel better, you're a fool not to agree with it. Now, there can be to an extreme. Keith Hernandez, when he first came up to the Cardinals, really was, you know, he wasn't playing every day. He was kind of a pinch hitter. He was kind of in and out, but he had a similar relationship with his father. He'd have to call his father after every game, and Torrey would kind of get on him, and really he needed to cut the umbilical cord. But I'll never forget, we were in San Francisco, and Keith got a rare start. He got 3 hits in the game, and this was back in the days when that clubhouse, the players dressed with the coaches and manager all in one room. His dad came in there and started chewing out the coaches. They pay you to be a big league hitting coach, or you're this coach. I see my son one day and I can already figure out what he's doing wrong. I straighten him out. He gets 3 hits. You guys all should be fired. That doesn't go over real well.
The 3-2 pitch. Colby in the air. Right center. Backing up McCutchen with room in front of the track to make the catch. And back to first goes Terrio.
Got underneath it just a little bit. When he left the bat, you were hopeful, but then it just kind of died.
So it's up to Pujols, who walked first time up.
Now remember, if you're a pitcher, and a lot of times you'll get a scouting report. In my case, it was, you know, they'd say, oh, this guy's a good fastball hitter. Well, I only got a fastball. I can't invent a pitch to get him out. But the reason I'm saying is pitchers are getting Albert out inside. But if that's not a strength of yours, you can't really do it, because you're going to leave more balls middle half in and it'll become extremely hittable and be crushed by Albert. But if your strength is pitching away, even if that is the hitter's strength, you still have to believe in yourself.
2 balls and no strikes.
But you'll not be a complete pitcher until McDonald realizes that he has to pitch on both sides of the plate. A hitter can only protect one side of the plate. So as a pitcher, you want to pitch on both sides so you can neutralize his strength. If a hitter only has to guard one side of the plate, and he can really step right up there, just concentrate in middle half away, and know that if he pitches inside, it's just purely an accident.
2-1 the count. Three and one as he looked at the breaking ball a little bit high.
Boy, it really looked like he slowed up his motion, telegraphed that pitch, and then almost hung it. With Albert not swinging, you want to see him take walks. You know, obviously if the pitch is there, swing at it.
Fouled like straight back.
But if it's out of the strike zone with Holiday out of the lineup, you can't do more than you can do. You just got to stay within yourself. And it bears repeating. Lance is off to a good start, but this lineup desperately misses Matt Holliday. He did play catch today. He did do a little jogging. So realistically, I think you could say as early as this weekend, we could see the monster back.
A 3-2 pitch, And Pujols gets underneath it. Shallow center. McCutchen coming on to make the catch. Calls off Cedeno. Albert 0 for 1 with a walk. Good news of Matt Holliday. The Cardinals trail so far tonight. Back in St. Louis, and it's 2-0. The Pirates on top. Lyle Overbay was left standing at the plate after McCutchen was caught stealing. And he leads it off with 1 ball, 1 strike here in the top of the 4th. If you're just joining us, a 2-run homer by Overbay back in the 1st to account for all the scoring.
Just a bad pitch, bad location, but struck out the side that 1st inning.
And a ground ball that's back in by Pujols. Underhands to McClellan for the 1st out.
Talked about PFP. One of the things is a ground ball to the right side, your approach going to the bag. Now you have to gauge the speed of the runner. If you've got a real fast runner, you go directly to the bag. But if you got Lyle Overbay, you kind of have a banana approach. You come down the line, and then you're running parallel to the line, so you can see the bag as you're running, looking for the throw. If you have to, if it's Vince Coleman running or the fastest guy in the game, you got to go right to it. But if you don't have a speedy runner, you can run up the line, and then the first baseman is throwing to you chest high. You can see the bag with your peripheral vision as you're catching the ball, and you can just step on it all one easy motion. The tough one is when you have to watch the ball, catch the ball, and then try to find the bag.
1-2 the count. Pedro Alvarez is called out on strikes, 1st time up. McClellan has struck out 5 in this game. The 1-2 pitch.
Alvarez probably rushed to the big leagues, less than 200 games, about 700 at bats. Usually like to say around 1,100 at bats in the minor leagues. But a #1 draft pick, extremely talented. With a club like this, you let him learn and play here at the major league level. You're not worried about it being beyond his skill level.
Well, I mentioned that scout thought that they had 3 players that would turn into outstanding major league players. The scout also said that in looking at the Cardinals, not a lot of margin for error, but one thing that a lot of people around baseball have talked about, they like their starting rotation. Even with a guy like Wainwright out, they just wonder the effect that McClellan, his presence in that rotation, will have on the bullpen. by not being there.
And that's Tony's biggest concern, is how to fill the innings for Kyle. He's going to be fine in that rotation. We'll talk more about that.
The Krispy Kreme dozen deal. If your St. Louis Cardinals get 9 hits today, you're invited into Krispy Kreme tomorrow to receive a dozen of their original glazed donuts for only $2.99. Stop by one of the 4 St. Louis area Krispy Kremes for this sensational deal.
There's no way you can replace Adam Wainwright.
Better hold that thought again as Colby makes the catch. It'll be Berkman, Craig, and Freese coming up. 2-zip Pirates on top. Get a 25-cent drink. The next day, all day at On the Run at Mobile. That's any 20-ounce coffee, fountain, or frozen drink for just a quarter. And we're serious. 6, a serious number on the Run at Mobile. Switch hitter Lance Berkman telling me today that he learned to switch hit at the age of 5. Said his dad saw that he was naturally throwing lefty, hit from the right side, and made him a switch hitter. And one of the ways that he was able to develop that was that he said he had a tree in his backyard. They hung a tire from it, and Lance would take every day cuts from the right side and left side, 50 and 50.
You know, normally you see a switch hitter, you say, well, he's great speed. He was a natural right-handed batter. Because of his speed, you want to take advantage of it. You got him a step closer to first base. That's not the case with Lance Berkman. But, you know, because I think the fact that he was throwing left-handed,
exactly,
his dad did that.
Opposite field, pretty well hit. It's at the track, it's at the wall, and it's off the top of the wall. Tabata couldn't get to that ball, and Berkman has a double.
Lance Berkman, such a dangerous hitter, particularly in Houston with that short Crawford box and left. But spray the ball around. You see the steadiness of those legs. Not a great stride. Misses a home run by about 2 or 3 feet. Good to see him drive the ball and drive the ball the opposite field.
Team that is not scoring, nobody out, runner at second. They've got to bring him in and advance Berkman at least to third and give Freese a chance.
Little different, you know, alignment here. Alan Craig worked the hit and run to perfection yesterday, something they didn't expect. They had the second baseman playing very close to the bag. Now where you got a pitcher who pitches away.
Up the middle, base hit. Here comes Berkman. They'll wave him in. McCutcheon's throw, not in time. Craig on his way to second base, and it's 2-1.
Alan Craig's always shown that he has the ability to drive in runs, much like David Freese. But when we talked a little bit about it, when he plays consistently, he's going to do some damage. He's always hit at all levels. Hits the ball hard, drives it through the middle here. Berkman running real, reaches head to head. He's going to do it. A poor decision here, a high throw. And what this makes is he missed the cutoff man. It's a single, and then Alan Craig alertly watches the high throw and goes to second base because he knows nobody can cut it off and throw him out.
Here's David Freese. Berkman is really running well.
Absolutely. I saw him in spring training, and don't question the knee and even the calf at that time. And it's not even an issue to him. But right now, he's got to get David Freese going. One of the concerns we had is he's still a real young ball player. Everybody forgets that, the last 2 years, because of the ankles and 3 surgeries, he's just had a small portion at the beginning of the season. And even last year when he hit 296, he was tailing off the last 2 or 3 weeks. You hope that he picks it up and hits that, the 300 around there, drives in a lot of runs. Right now he's struggling a little bit. Doesn't have that foundation to get over it.
2-0 is fouled back.
And you always bring up young players. You hope to get off to great starts because then they start pressing. They start, not that they doubt, but they just compound a slump because they worry about it too much. Instead of waking up one day and say, I'm going to hit 300, I'm going to drive in every run out there at second base, just relax.
There's the breaking ball in the dirt. 3 balls and 1 strike.
Stepping right there, the inside part of the bag. Make that quick turn. Berkman will find real quick that he'll get a lot of green lights with Oquendo over at third base.
3-1 the count on David Freese. Takes a pitch outside and draws the walk. So that's 4 issued by McDonald. This pitch count already at 70.
Pretty much true to form. Mark McGwire said that this guy will throw a lot of pitches out over the plate. He's still a thrower, so you think that he's going to make mistakes that you can drive. He's also going to, be borderline pitches, a little nitpick a little bit, and he'll walk people. I thought Charlie Morton last night was the best pitcher, best starting pitcher the Cardinals have seen this year. He walked 5, and McGwire was complimentary of McDonald, but he said we probably should have had 15. As the Cardinals made very poor adjustments and all those inside pitches, sinker balls that they kept on swinging that were off the plate that were balls. And but I thought Morton pitched well, but Mark was very, very astute, right on target, that the Cardinals did not make adjustments during the game. Today it's a little easier because this guy is throwing everything out of way. You see that pitch a lot easier than that good sinking fastball that's boring and exploding inside. I asked Morton today, did you send some tweezers over so Molina could take the splinters out of his hand? I mean, he ate him up twice.
He really did.
Even Pujols one time. They were self-defense swings, and that ball just exploded in on him.
He broke both their bats in the game. So still nobody out. A double, a single, a walk. And Schumacher did not show bunt. They're charging with Overbay at first. And the third baseman is playing in. That's Alvarez.
Overbay, the veteran. So he's kind of making the quarterback decisions on bunt plays in the infield rather than the youngster at third.
First pitch to Skip. A check swing. Second for a ball as they appeal down to third. Schumacher, first time up, grounded out to second. His career with runners in scoring position, a .291 hitter with 7 home runs.
Cardinals have been killed by early double plays in the season. Avoid one here.
And it's a double play. 4-6-3. FoxSportsMidwest.com is your home for exclusive Cardinals coverage. You can follow us on Facebook and Twitter for the latest Cards updates. FoxSportsMidwest.com. And that's the place to go for Cardinal fans.
Pick me up time. Gerald Laird, hopefully he can get a 2-out base hit here, pick up that run, make the club feel a little better. It's already, I think, 8 double plays on the young season the Cardinals have hit into, the most in the National League.
Another final in the books in the National League. San Diego over the Giants 3-1. Two outs and a runner at third for Laird. Flied out to center first time up.
Sometimes it's going to be very tough for that 8th place hitter. You've got to understand, you've got the pitcher on deck. They know that. And you know that you're probably going to get a lot of borderline pitches. You know, be ready to hit that strike. Try and drive the ball, but if they want to walk you, you know, it's not the worst thing. You get the pitch count up a little higher, and Kyle maybe can help his own cause.
Hit out of play, stays alive, 1 ball and 2 strikes.
And yet on the other side, if I'm a pitcher, I hate it when a manager just doesn't have the confidence in me to get an 8th place hitter out with a pitcher on deck. A lot of times they just give, you know, put up the 4, but at some point you got to get that 8th place hitter out.
And he does so here. A foul tip held on to by Jaramillo. Cardinals get on the board. It's 2-1 as we head to the 5th. Long, Fox Sports Midwest. Will Pepper. Bill Finley and his crew got the field ready. James McDonald and Kyle McClellan hooking up tonight. A pair of right-handers. Overbay with a big shot. Saw Gerald Laird show off the arm from behind home plate. Getting McCutcheon. And McClellan pitching into the 5th. It's 2-1 now. Pittsburgh on top.
Question for me is, can Kyle McClellan consistently go at least 6 innings? Really the sign of a starter. Can you go deep enough? He knows what happens if you get that reliever that, you know, is consistently going 4 or 5 innings. That puts a big burden on the bullpen. He's big enough, he's strong enough, he's got the right pitches. I don't think it'll be a problem for him.
Al, isn't it amazing? Modern medicine in the game of baseball. Every one of the Cardinals starters have had some type of major surgery. Every one of them. Tommy John,
a bunch of Tommy Johns.
Yep, and then you had the odd forearm surgery that Loesch went through.
And shoulders, elbows, forearms. We were talking earlier that you can't replace, you know, Adam Wainwright.
in the air on a 3-1 pitch. Popped up on the grass, shallow right, and Schumacher is there.
But the point is you look at Carpenter, and you can ill afford to have him go down. But Adam Wainwright, his injury happened so early in spring training that it was easily forgotten. You know, that you just dismiss it. Okay, he's going to be our #1 cheerleader, Adam Wainwright. But you knew that it really didn't alter anything for Kyle. This is the first year that he said, you know, I'm not going to be auditioning for the 5th starter. And he told his wife driving to spring training, you know, he goes, look, I'm not supposed to be there. Something's going to happen, and I'm going to be a starter this year. But he never pitched one time as a reliever. He geared up the entire time like he did the last 2 springs for the starting rotation. And this is where he wants to be.
Pitches by inning for Kyle at 23 in the second, the most, and 76 total so far tonight. McDonald squaring and takes a ball. So you got Freeze charging at third. Pujols holding that runner at first.
You have 1 out. You got the runner on here, the 8th place hitter on base. You got the pitcher up. So in your mind, you've got at least 2 outs.
Good bunt. Laird will take charge, makes the play. Schumacher covering at first base, and Cedeno's in scoring position.
You got 2 outs. You got a man in scoring position. But if I get the hitter and just concentrate on the hitter, so be it. The man stranded at second.
Tabata doubled and scored back in the first, and also grounded out to second.
Kyle is at 78 pitches now.
You know, a question for Clint Hurdle. He's gone to Hanrahan already a bunch here in the first week. Would he be available here tonight? It was a 4-out save last night.
4-out save. He's already 3 for 3 in save opportunities, but I think he knows he has a horse out there. He's got a pretty good bullpen. Got a couple other setup guys there too. Kyle's through 5.
McClellan leads it off when we come back. It's 2-1 Pittsburgh. Midway through 5 tonight on your home of the Cardinals, Fox Sports Midwest. A 2-1 game in favor of Pittsburgh here in the bottom 5 from Busch Stadium in St. Louis. And this is Kyle McClellan. Cardinals with only 2 base hits tonight.
And I like it. I like it. You're telling Kyle McClellan, hey, you're trailing 2-1. It's a close ball game. You've gone through 5, your first major league start. But what I just was saying, you've got to establish in his mind that he's got to go 6 innings plus. So you give him this opportunity. Maybe another, you're playing 1 bench player short with Holiday not being, and I think Tony's a little bit iffy on the bullpen right now. The roles, I think, are still evolving. Some guys I think he knows and trusts will be better in maybe in a week or two. But he really doesn't have anybody that he wants to go to right now. You know, Augustine pitched in yesterday's ball game. Batista would be another guy. And I think right now he's almost having more confidence in Batista later in the game than multiple innings now.
McClellan retired for the first out. Let's turn to our trivia question tonight, presented by AT concerning Pittsburgh. Which Pittsburgh team has won the most championships? The Pens, Pirates, or Steelers?
May think it's an easy question, but really isn't, is it?
Football team, the Steelers with 6.
Well, I mean, I think everyone would think that that would be it, but you know, they look at the last 18 losing seasons for the Pirates, but the Pirates were, you go back into history, they were an outstanding organization for many, many years. And Clint Hurdle is the ultimate optimist, and he's trying to tell them we're coming back to the glory days.
When you were playing, Al, they had players that they went down to the Dominican and got. This date in history, just a year ago, we opened up the season from the Great American Ballpark. This is brought to you by Schnucks. New Year's, same old Albert. You knew that was going to happen. Pujols would homer twice, but the big one was Yadier Molina. Grand slam and an 11-6 win for the Redbirds on opening day in Cincy.
Well, maybe this is opening day. Forget about those first 4 games.
And this year the season starting a little bit earlier because they do not, Major League Baseball does not want to have a World Series head into November.
And Doment, when he's catching, you can almost guarantee that it's going to be a much more aggressive running game. You know, Doment is a very good hitter, a good guy to have on your ball club, but he really has trouble throwing. Cardinals stole 2 bases last night and had a successful hit and run, so the running game was more in vogue. Armillo, the catcher behind the plate, stronger throwing arm, at times can get a little long in his release, and McDonald is, you know, average in holding runners. The little nuances that are, you know, still developing and learning that aspect of it. Terrio is a much, you know, you look for him to have 20 steals when it's all said and done.
Line drive, base hit into right. Terrio around second and on his way to third. They almost threw the ball away. Rasmus aboard for the second time.
I'm not too sure that Terrio wasn't running, but he didn't get a good jump. And if you don't have a good jump, don't run. And right down the middle. And Kobe hooks it. Game of inches. Now watch, it looks like Terrio wants to go, but then he doesn't get the jump, so it was a little bit before that. Game of inches. A little bit more towards the line. That's a double play. Goes in the corner, first to third, and look who's up. It's only a matter of time, folks.
Pujols has flied out to center. That was back in the third to end the inning. And he walked and was left stranded in the first. Runners at the corners. 1 out. And Pujols hits it in the air to shallow right center. McCutcheon makes the catch. Terrio tagging up. And he will score. Albert picks up his second RBI. And it ties the game up at 2-2.
Even then, Albert was out in front, really fooled by the pitch. But we talked about a guy's strength as he pitches away. Albert knew in this case that, you know, at the very least he was going to hit the ball the right side, get a sac fly, and even when he's off balance, he still delivers.
And here is Berkman, who's called out on strikes in the first and doubled and scored in the fourth. And Clint Hurdle, long walk out to the mound, and that'll be it for McDonald. His night will come to a close. It's our Chevy call to the bullpen. Jeff Karstens coming into the bullpen. Right here on Fox Sports Midwest. New pitcher in is Jeff Karstens, the 28-year-old right-hander, 6'3", 185. He's appeared in one game this year. He's 1-0. He came over from the Yankees in 2008 with Ross Ollendorf and Daniel McCutchen, outfielder Jose Tabata. That was for Xavier Nady and Damaso Marte. He was a very good lefty at that time.
Well, Karstens, they feel is they're improved because he was a guy that established a lot of highs last year in their rotation. A converted catcher. He was originally drafted by Montreal back in 2000 as a catcher, didn't sign. Saved a lot of wear and tear on that arm by playing another position and then pitching later.
And now it's Berkman. Last year, Karstens appeared in 26 games. 19 of those were starts, and he went 3-10 with an ERA just a shade below 5. Outfield is straight away for Berkman. Gets underneath it, pops it up, it's playable. Near the line, Cedeno makes the catch. The Cardinals, thanks to Albert Pujols and his sacrifice fly and RBI, have tied it up 2-2 after 5. Carpenter making his second start of the season tomorrow. And it's game 3 with the Buccos. Will come your way at noon. Kevin Correa 1-0. Carpenter with a 2.57 ERA No record thus far. And again, we'll come your way at noon. And I hope that folks take advantage of that dynamic pricing tomorrow. Terrace reserve seats, $5. Field box, $17. And the Legends Club, which includes all your beverages and food, for $50. So dynamic pricing at the ballpark tomorrow.
Well, that's great pricing. But probably better news is going to be great weather in the 70s. Should be a nice day. So come out and root on Carpenter and the Cards.
2-2 game here. That misses inside to Neil Walker. 2, 3, and 4 in the lineup for the Buccos here in their half of the 6th. Walker has struck out and also grounded out. On the outside corner. That's strikeout number 7 for Kyle McClellan. This is Al's favorite portion of the broadcast. Corey in Belleville and our carsoup.com email. What is going on with the Cardinals bats? They can't seem to put anything together. You are correct.
Mark McGwire had a lot of sleepless nights last year. He hoped there'd be a lot fewer, but he's gotten off to a start. I sense he's getting a little frustrated, you know. And it's one thing if you're seeing Halladay and you're seeing Lincecum and Kane and you're seeing all these great young pitchers that are in the game. You've got to give them their kudos, but the Cardinals really are not making adjustments. And we talked a little bit about this in the past, that he feels they're so dependent on video that they really don't trust their own eyes and their own instincts. And in yesterday's game, for example, he just felt that the Cardinals took 5 walks off the starter, but they should have had double to triple that amount. They swung at so many pitches off the plate. And it's one thing to be fooled by a much improved sinking fastball that ran in the first time through the order, but to do it the second and the third time, not making those adjustments, it's something that he's been a little frustrated by.
3-1 to McCutchen.
I will say this too, Dan, that I've never been around a more positive guy, and Mark McGwire really gives a lot of positive reinforcement to all of his players. Sometimes he kind of glosses over these guys a little bit and saying, well, you've seen the same thing I'm seeing, but it's just that it's like tonight. He felt that McDonald was going to give a lot of pitches out over the plate. He walked 4. They got 4 hits. They couldn't really do, with the pitches that they saw, there were too many times they really didn't do anything. Now, a lot of that, with Albert not swinging the bat well, Halladay out of the lineup, it changes the dynamics of this offense.
Base hit for McCutchen, on base for the second time. So McClellan fell behind here and grooves one to McCutchen.
Well, 3 times today he's fallen behind the count, but he doesn't give in and makes them hit their way on. They're talented enough, they've got 3 hits, but it's still the right mental approach as a pitcher. Make them hit their way on.
Let's see if McCutchen wants to test Gerald Laird again. He was caught stealing back in the 3rd. Overbay with a 2-run homer. We're tied up. It's 2-2, 1 out here in the 6th. Going back to your point about McGwire, and he's talked about, you always hear location with pitchers, but McGwire talks about taking one half of the plate and making that for a hitter.
Well, remember I said that, a hitter can't protect both sides of the plate. So you've got to choose one side or the other. And the pitcher, he can sit there and say, okay, I'm going to try and pitch you on both sides of the plate. Now you can protect one, but you can't protect both. The plate is too big. And if you work the count, a pitcher will make a mistake almost every at bat if you're patient enough. It's the most difficult thing in all of sports to hit. You're trying to hit a round baseball thrown at high velocity with movement with a round bat. How do you center the ball and make contact? But it's the mental approach. And sometimes, that just separates the men from the boys.
2-0 the count. And a right-hander starts throwing in the Cardinal bullpen. I believe that may be Boggs.
Yes, it is.
And a ground ball, base hit. McCutchen around second, on his way to third. Boy, he could fly. So 1 out, runners at the corners. You watch McCutchen, he's got all the tools. He can hit for power, he can throw, cover ground, and boy, he can run.
And he just picks him up, lays him down. It's lightning quick. One of the fastest runners in all the game. Michael Bourne will be maybe considered the fastest, but he's right there with him. A lot of times scouts will tell you, in a situation like that, they will grade a pitcher. You're looking for a double play to end the inning, so you need a ground ball. Kyle got a ground ball. It really wasn't even hit particularly hard, but it just found a hole. So you really can't penalize him so much because he got what he wanted. It just a little better luck.
This could be 2. Schumacher to second, out there on the first. They get the double play. 4-6-3 on the double play. McClellan needed that. Stays tied 2-2. By rookies for the Pittsburgh Pirates, and Neil Walker and Pedro Alvarez a couple of years ago, 66 and 64 respectively. But this is a huge double play for McClellan and the Cardinals tonight.
Well, that's a ball that you drive to the opposite field. You roll over on it, you're going to hit a ground ball to second. Tailor-made double play. So like I said, Kyle was looking for the ground ball. Lyle hit it through for a base hit, but Alvarez got the twin killing he needed to get out of the inning.
That's a base hit. Craig again strikes. Sunday, April 24th, for the first time ever, 25,000 fans will be able to add their bobblehead collection with Stan Musial, courtesy of tickets.com. 345-9500, and tickets, we are told, are very close to being sold out. 345-9500. That weekend is against the Reds. Friday night is a fireworks night. Saturday is the statue replica of Red Shandies, the one that you see outside of Busch Stadium. And then Sunday is the bobblehead with Stan the Man. So great giveaways that weekend.
Great opponent.
Cincinnati. First time we see them.
Who won today. They're 4-0 after a great start.
Second inning of work here for Jeff Karstens. He got the final out off the bat of Lance Berkman in the 5th.
It's like Batista is throwing the Cardinal bullpen, so Al McClellan got through 6 innings. Outstanding job. Let's get the lead here and let Tony make a decision. He wants to take him out or not. Big difference going 6 or going less for a starter. You go 6 innings, that bullpen only has to count for 9 outs. Everything runs pretty smoothly.
Freeze right to third, Alvarez to first, safe as Craig got back just in time. It was a rocket hit by David Freeze.
Tough play because, you know, young runner there, you want to score, so you're going to be a little more aggressive. The line drive can't hit it any harder. Then you have to scramble back, and it gets in just underneath the tag. Force out. A tough break for David Freeze.
Schumacher has bounced into a double play, 4-6-3. That was in the 4th inning and also grounded out to second. 0 for 2. He started the double play to end the top of this inning. You wonder at some point if Tony La Russa would look at Skip Schumacher about returning to the leadoff spot.
I think there'll be occasions where that will happen. But Terrio actually has a higher on-base percentage than Skip. Most of them very similar in what their major league lifetime batting averages are. About 290 for Skip and 284 for Terrio. But Terrio has the ability, should steal around 20 bases. And if you're going to bat Colby in this 2-hole, you don't want back-to-back left-handers.
1-1 pitch. Gets away. Craig in scoring position.
Get late in a game, tie game, and you've got to just block that ball. You can ill afford breaking ball there. You know it. Just stabs at it, tries to backhand it. Not the technique the Cardinals are so good at of really forget about the glove. Glove blocks the hole between the legs, but getting smothered the ball on the ground. Kind of engulf, throw your chest at the ball, you know, with the chest protector, let it hit the dirt, and then throw your chest over it to block it and keep it right in front of you. Stab at it more times than not, that ball's going to get by you.
A 3-1 pitch. Full count.
I touched on it. Skip didn't come through last time, but really for a guy that was a leadoff hitter, there were times when he was a tough out with a man in scoring position.
2 years ago especially.
Yes.
Count is full with 1 out, runner at second. Inside, Gerald Laird will have a shot. No activity in the Pirates bullpen. Redbirds have received 5 walks tonight.
Got 5 hits, 5 walks. That's 10 base runners, and we're here in the 6th inning. Got to manufacture more runs. You've got to do more damage. What a great opportunity for Gerald Laird to get a big hit right here. Very well liked. You can already tell that by the coaching staff and,
you're right,
and his teammates. But until you kind of, you know, do something in a game, you get the fans on your side and your teammates even really punctuate it.
Runners at first and second with 1 out, 2-2 game here in the bottom of the 6th. Laird bounces one to third. Alvarez steps on the bag, throw to first, and they got him. Another double play that the Cardinals hit into to kill a threat. Tied up 2-2. StubHub, where you'll find the seats you want and the freedom to choose where you want to sit. StubHub, the official fan-to-fan ticket marketplace of your St. Louis Cardinals. That's the Cardinal Club downstairs, which is part of your ticket when you purchase a ticket in the green seats.
Double switch as our Mid-America Chevy dealers call to the bullpen. Miguel Batista, 40 years old now, still going strong, will come in, follow up McClellan, who in his first major league start, outstanding job. Batista, his second appearance. He's going to be a big mainstay on this Cardinal staff. He's a really swing man. Descalzo goes in to play third. He's part of the double switch. He'll lead off next inning. And maybe this is a way that you can buy, you know, early in the season, David Freese kind of 2 out of every 3 day. So he probably scheduled not to play the off day. And maybe if he gets him out of half this game, maybe you can play David tomorrow and then the off day Thursday.
Cardinals head out on a long road trip. San Francisco, Los Angeles, Arizona. As we head out west, and Batista takes over.
Garrett Jones will pinch hit.
Remember when Garrett Jones, Al, arrived and all the home runs that he hit?
Yes. Kind of a very intriguing player.
First pitch, the fly ball into left field. Taken there by Craig.
He hit a ton of home runs in just half a season. It really got your attention. And he's been playing an awful lot in right field, but Baez got the start tonight.
95 pitches tonight for Kyle McClellan in his 6 innings of work. Gave up 6 hits, struck out 7, and 2 runs. Not bad at all.
They were in the first inning and a stake 2-run home run by Overbay. I thought he was outstanding. I think Dave Duncan will just be raving about what he did. More importantly, he got through 6 innings. He finished it strong with that double play to keep the game tied. So a great start for what's already been a very, very good major league career, but that was the first 3 years as a reliever. He's ready for the starting assignment now.
Jaramillo now with 1 out, nobody on.
And you touched on it. I have no problems, you know, with the Cardinals' 5 starters, even with Adam Wainwright out. That's still a strength to this ball club. Offense, defense, and bullpen are yet to be determined.
We're seeing that this offense is so dependent on Pujols being Albert Pujols and having a healthy Matt Holliday.
Well, we saw, and it really was magnified after the Ludwig trade, and when Freese was out. Once you got by the big guys, there was an awful lot of, I don't want to say outs, but they were outs in that lineup, or it was minimal damage. It took 4 hits to score a run because he had a lot of singles hitters. That's why Berkman is so important. Also, getting Freese to be David Freese, being an RBI man. Kobe Rasmus to continue his progress. You know, he's got tremendous skills. He's just got to deliver a little bit more. And you don't really ask a guy in year 1 and year 2. Start year 3, you start asking for a little more responsibility.
2-2 game here in the 7th. No walks, but that's what he's done. Batista 1-out walk to Jaramillo.
This guy Batista is really intriguing. You know, very intelligent. He's got a book of poetry. You know, he's a very likable guy. When we did the game in Vieira, when his last team was the Nationals, talking with the coaches and everything, they really like him. And Tony does too. You know, I mean, he could be a starter, spot starter. Long man. He'll even probably close some games. And right now, I think Tony has confidence for him and to bridge the gap, getting to Franklin.
And he's been blessed with health and a very good arm. He's 40 years old. And he was signed by the Expos as a non-drafted free agent back in 1988. Time is called. He's been with the Cubs, Florida, Montreal, Kansas City, Arizona, Toronto, Seattle, Washington, and now St. Louis.
From Puerto Rico, right?
Miguel Bautista at the age of 40 is from Santo Domingo.
Oh, Santo Domingo, the capital of República Dominicana.
That's right. He's 6'1", 210 pounds. Over 13 years of Major League service.
And still can get it up there in the mid-90s.
Runner goes. The hit and run was on, but Laird could not hold on. So they start Jaramillo, and it pays off. I wonder if the sign was for Bautista to throw over to first.
Well, he just misses location so badly. If you're a catcher and you can see your peripheral vision, you know the guy's going. You know you called a fastball. You're looking for a fastball probably, a little bit up and away. Give the catcher a better throwing. So you're kind of getting into this throwing lane, and when you throw the ball so far outside, it just messes up all your mechanics of throwing, or the potential throw to second base. And in this case, he's trying to go forward so you don't have the same reach on a pitch so far outside.
1-1 is tapped foul. To mention, he can still throw hard. That pitch at 94 in on the hands of Ronnie Cedeno, who was struck out swinging back in the second and singled in the fifth.
Bautista will tell you that he's been around the block long enough. When you're late in a ball game and it's tied, you do not want to walk anybody. That's usually a kiss of death. And then when you compound it and let the guy get into scoring position with one out.
1-2 pitch. After a long look, misses inside. 2-2. Mets over the Phillies today, 7-1. Al told you that Cincinnati beat Houston 8-2. San Diego over San Francisco 3-1, and Chicago beat Arizona 6-5.
Houston thinks it's 2010, don't they?
Can't win again. Foul ball. We saw Brad Mills, was it 0-8 start, I believe, and then they finally got a win against the Cardinals.
But Norris started the game.
Well, of course. What was I thinking?
Automatic.
Two-two pitch.
Look at the missed location there, as Laird was really out of the batter's box. He was completely in the left-hand side of the batter's box, stepping out there, and watch where the ball goes. Look at the arm. He goes straight right, a foot inside, as Gerald Laird's looking for the ball a foot outside.
Go ahead run at second base. 2-2 game. Outfield is straight away for Cedeno.
Cedeno started things off in that sixth inning last night. The only inning the Buccos scored in off of Kyle Loesch. He got a base hit through the right side. 3-2, big pitch here.
Shallow right. Berkman makes the catch. 2 outs. Pinch hitter now is John Bowker. He'll be the pinch hitter.
They were the Giants last year, right?
The world champions.
293 in spring training. Opening day a year ago, he was playing for the Giants out in right field on opening day.
Some may wonder, if you don't finish up with a team that wins a championship, that player gets a share, also gets a ring.
Absolutely. So he'll get the ring. He was on the opening day roster. probably was there all season long. They get a full share.
So 2 outs, runner at second. Tied up at 2.
Bill White was on the pregame show. He has a new book that's out. The former Cardinal first baseman, National League president, uppity, something uppity, but he was talking about the '64 World Championship. They got something like $8,900. $8,900, and he said $4,400 in taxes. And I remember Bob Gibson saying that he actually lost money. Said he got his money, paid his taxes, and the rest of it plus went to buying tickets.
And I believe the most recent full share was roughly around $400,000.
Oh yeah.
And it's dependent on how they want to split it up too.
Well, and I'm a little fuzzy on this, but the first 4 games of the World Series, all the money, the ticket money, goes to the players. The ownership doesn't, and Major League Baseball doesn't get a cut until after starts with Game 5. So the size of the ballpark, of course, tickets have jumped dramatically, yes, which they were the last sport to do it. For All-Star games, World Series, postseason games, for many years it really wasn't that big of a markup from a regular season ticket.
0-2. So what pitch does Bautista want to go with here on Bowker?
You want to make a perfect pitch off the plate. It's either a perfect strike where you can't hit it, or it's a ball setting up the next pitch. So you set up way outside. It's a little too far outside, but the intent is correct. And to reinforce it, Laird really went out there. You don't want to make a mistake on an 0-2 pitch. So if you're going to throw a strike, it's a strike that's on the black, that is just absolutely perfect. Now he wants the pitch down. Sometimes throwing that ball up will get you, it's a little bit reversed. Now he really wanted to accentuate the ball down. A lot of times, if you're constantly throwing the ball down, then you'll see a catcher, that'll say, okay, give me a ball up, because it just changes that eye angle, and it's almost like human instinct. It's a ball, but you see it so much more clearly because it's eye level, and you swing through it and you can't handle it. It's either a strikeout or a pop-up pitch.
On 1-2, Bautista to Bowker. Two balls, 2 strikes, 2-2 game with 2 outs.
This is really Hawker pinch hit on the season opener and popped out. Change speeds, keeping the ball down, just, now there's 3-2. You really can't throw what I was saying about elevating the ball because it's a ball. But if he does so, a lot of times you get a guy to swing at that pitch out of the strike zone, but you can't take the chance on the 3-2 pitch.
In the air out to center. Backing up Colby Rasmus. He's got it. Time to stretch. Descalso, part of the double switch, leads it off when we come back. St. Louis Cardinals and may not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form, and the accounts and descriptions of this game may not be disseminated without the express written consent of the St. Louis Cardinals. Glad you're with us in a 2-2 game. Cardinals and Pirates move to the bottom of the 7th along with Al Raboski. Dan McClellan with you, and Garrett Olson, a lefty, takes over for the Pirates.
It's a newcomer to us.
They only have one lefty down there too. This is it.
Last year he had a career high in appearances and ranked 4th on the Mariners staff. Pitched 35 games. He was 0-3, 4.50 ERA. He is a graduate of Cal Poly and majored in mechanical engineering.
So it's gone from the starter McDonald, 4 2/3. Carson's inning in a third, and now this lefty Olson. Daniel Descalso pinch hit against Joel Hanrahan last night. I talked to him about the at bat. He said it was boom, 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 and over. As Hanrahan struck him out on a 98-mile-an-hour fastball. Now Daniel is from the West Coast, the Bay Area. He grew up idolizing, he said, Tony La Russa's Oakland A's. Falls behind 0-2 and looks at a strike. And Descalso did not know that that was strike 3, and a slow walk back to the dugout.
Set up the outside. Look at the tailing action right down the middle of the plate. And Daniel, you can count to 3, but somewhere in that sequence he must have thought one was a ball. Or he's just hoping.
One out, nobody on for Ryan Theriot. On base twice tonight with a walk, a single, and a run scored.
Ryan's always had that good on base percentage, and as I said, he's got a lifetime major league average of 284. Played shortstop, a couple championship division champions for the Cubs, and also that national championship at LSU.
And it's 3-0. Right-hander getting loose in the bullpen for the Pirates. Nobody for St. Louis. And that's one of the luxuries that you have with Batista, is more than just one inning with the righty. Resop is getting loose for Pittsburgh. 3 balls and a strike.
Clint Hurdle has a pretty good bullpen down there.
He really does.
When you really get to a little later on, led by an outstanding closer.
That's ball 4, so the go-ahead run is on. Theriot on base for the 3rd time. The Cardinals have been issued 6 walks tonight.
Well, that is one thing that that Clint Hurdle's going to really preach to his team. That they got away with an awful lot of walks last night. So far, they've gotten away with far too many tonight.
By the way, you saw in that shot of Clint Hurdle just moments ago. In that shot was a familiar face for Cardinal fans, Nick Leyva, who was here for a few years in the mid-'80s as one of the base coaches.
Third base coach for Whitey, and he's had a couple stints as manager in the big leagues. And he talked to Whitey yesterday. Whitey's supposed to be here today. Of course, I saw Bill Verdon. He was a former Rookie of the Year for the Cardinals, and also managed the Pirates for many years. He still goes to spring training and works with their outfielders. Lives down in Springfield.
0-1 pitch. Colby pops it up left side. Out of play. You get the feeling that barring a double play, this will be Olson's final batter with a righty and getting loose, and Pujols on deck.
You can't afford, with a tie ball game and a man already on base, to let your lefty face Albert with a switch hitting Berkman on deck, even though he's a much better hitter left-handed. And you just got to go to that bullpen and bring in Resop. Or why is he warming up?
Exactly. 0-2 the count. Rasmus with a base hit earlier tonight. Fouls it back and a good cut. He's also flied to center and walked.
A little better chance against these left-handers now as Kobe really, in the minor leagues, you know, you look at a left-handed hitter, they see so few left-handers. You know, so they really, you know, they come up here to the big leagues when they're playing every day. It's a little bit tougher for him, but he's had enough at bats now that he's much tougher. Like 2 years ago, that would have you know, a weak little swing. He would have been fooled by that pitch. But it's pitch recognition, and it's just now he's playing every day, seeing a lot more left-handers. That 219 average in his career is going to go up a lot higher.
A 1-2 pitch to Colby Rasmus instead of check on Terrio at first. And I think you hit it on the head there, Al. The fact that Rasmus knows he's going to be playing every day.
And that's a big part of it, too. When a player, whether you're a pitcher or a hitter, and you're always looking over your shoulder, or you always put so much pressure and you say, this is bad, I've got to do something good, or I'm going back to the minor leagues. I'm going to the bench. That's a tough way to play.
Fights it off, little floater. Gets down. Runners at first and second. One out, and in steps Pujols. Good at bat.
Good at bat. I mean, you know, he got lucky. Strong enough that he muscled that pitch, jammed him, probably even broke his bat. But you get the ball up there, you know, you could fight it off. And that was the case there. McCutchen's got to play deep, respecting Kobe's power. And a lot of balls will fall in. And it's another learning point and a good bat against a left-handed pitcher.
Glenn Hurdle goes to his bullpen with the game on the line here. First and second, one out. Pujols coming up. Midwest is brought to you by Bud Light. It's the sure sign of a good time. Here we go. By Bank of America. Cardinals banking only at Bank of America. And by AT&T. Al Hrabosky, Dan McClellan with you. And Chris Resop comes into the ball game to face Albert Pujols. And Al and I were remarking during the break that you have a guy here that made one appearance for the Atlanta Braves a year ago. And he had a rough outing. He went 2 innings, 5 hits, and 5 runs that were all earned. He was released, but prior to that, he'd made 15 starts in the minor leagues with a 2.09 ERA. So then he comes over to Pittsburgh. Last year appears in 22 games, 19 innings, and a 1.89 ERA.
First thing comes to mind that you don't rock the boat in Bobby Cox's clubhouse, and whether something happened there, he wasn't very successful in that major league outing, but still, he was only 27. He's 28 now, and his numbers in the rotation were pretty good. Must have a plus arm as he pitched well for Pittsburgh, but sometimes it's a difference when a team that's trying to win and a team that's just trying to find players. You have more opportunities with a club like Pittsburgh. They can have more patience with a player.
Pujols with an RBI tonight. First pitch to him. Looks at a ball low and inside. That RBI is second on the year. He walked back in the first and also flied out to center.
Unbelievable numbers Albert has had against Pittsburgh pitching in his career, particularly in Pittsburgh. And about time for him to make another statement.
A 2-2 game. The pitch to Pujols. Chopper left side. There's a base hit. They'll wave him in. And Pujols delivers here in the seventh. It's 3-2.
Second RBI of the game. Sometimes you have to be lucky. They're going to try and pitch him in. Doesn't get it in there. He gets the ground ball. This very easily could have been another ground ball double play, but just enough and just far enough beyond the reach in the hole between short and third to go through for the RBI single. Wasn't the prettiest hit, but right now Albert will take it, and he needs that. It's hard to say. I mean, Albert doesn't lose confidence, but even Albert Pujols needs some kind of a little luck. Just a ball to trickle through to have, for him to say, okay, I know I'm back.
Al, I'm sure Clint Hurdle is looking at this game and saying missed opportunities at times offensively, but if we want to get over the hump, we can't walk 6 batters.
No doubt about it. There's nothing a manager can do. A defense can't help a pitcher when he's out there walking people. And the Cardinals, even though they're struggling, there is enough firepower that we're going to see a lot of games where they hit into double figures and runs. So Clint knows. He knows this is not a finished product. Young pitchers at times are afraid to throw strikes. That results in a lot of the walks. And they'll find
Berkman lines it out to left, but the catch made, and Rasmus hurries back to the bag at second. Pujols to first.
You'll find if you throw strikes, you got a chance to get outs. And right there's a great example between Berkman and Albert. Berkman hit the ball with authority. He drove that ball out there, but who had the better luck?
It's a cruel game, isn't it?
I mean, it's many times pitchers give hitters too much credit. Hitters give pitchers too much credit. You just got to go out there and believe that you are equal to your competition. And the game of baseball is so beautiful because you can be a middle reliever, and you can have the best hitter in baseball, and you can make him look silly at times. You can't do it, enough to be in the right rotation or to be the closer, but this game is about failure. You're going to fail 70% of the time. It's how you deal with failure and how you can forget and move on when you have a bad game or a bad at bat. How you just don't give at bats away. Come back and challenge people.
It's Boggs getting loose in the bullpen. Strike 2 on Craig, who's had a nice night. RBI single in the 4th and a single in the 6th. That 6th walk comes around to score. That was Terrio following the strikeout by Descalso to start this inning. Then a single by Rasmus, single by Pujols, line out by Berkman. Now 0-2 on Craig. 2 outs, 2 on. Cardinals lead it 3-2.
And I walked my share. I just reared back and threw the ball. But one thing I have learned, especially in the late innings, when you walk people, it's a kiss of death in a close ball game. Talked about Batista, he got away with it, but in this game, the Cardinals came through with Terrio's walk, and he scores the go-ahead run.
On 1-2, Craig gets underneath it and pops it up. McCutchen, center fielder, calls for it, and he's got it. 2 RBI night for Albert Pujols and a 1-run lead. on top. First lead of the night thanks to Albert Pujols. 2 RBIs tonight to make it 3-2. And again, we talked about this, the luxury of having a guy like Bautista that can give you multiple innings. And Boggs continues to throw down in the bullpen.
It is a problem right now because the Cardinals do have a series of young pitchers down there that really are 1-inning specialists. One of the few places that you had to replace was Hawksworth, a long guy. Trevor Miller is your specialist. Talent is off to a great start as another lefty specialist, but Boggs, now, Mott, those guys are 1-inning guys now. McClellan, you lose his ability to go multiple innings, so that's where Bautista can be very valuable. And I think Mott and McClellan are a little bit off. Augustine is going, has the ability. He's been a starter in the minor leagues. They like to stretch him out, but he pitched last night.
0-2 pitch. Ground ball hit to short. Terrio up with it quickly to Pujols for the first out. Terrio said earlier to me that when he needs to goose it, when he needs to let it fly, he's able to get a little bit more on it on his throws to first than we've seen so far.
The first time I saw him in spring training make a throw, I go, whoa, and it brought back memories of Eckstein. But a lot like Eckstein, is when he needed to have a little bit more. He got the body behind it, got the guy by half a step, whether he was a slow or fast runner. Tony will tell you the Cubs won 2 divisions with Terrio. He was his collegiate team was the national champions. So he's not concerned about the lack of arm strength at the shortstop position. And Terrio really wants to be a shortstop. He took a personal assault and, when he was moved to second base by the Cubs, and that's where he played with the Dodgers. And so he is very happy to be here in St. Louis playing shortstop. And he's the kind of, gritty type player that Tony La Russa loves. I talked to Don Mattingly this winter, and I said, tell me about Terrio. And he goes, Al, he's a gamer. You don't have to tell him anything. He knows how to play the game right. Everything he does is, he's the last guy you worry about. He knows the game fundamentally. And, and as a hitter, he feels he's a very scrappy hitter. Doesn't give away at bats. And so, this is somebody that the Cardinals and Tony La Russa really like. And because he can play multiple positions, he fits into that versatility role.
2-1 the count here on Neil Walker. Walker is struck out and also grounded out 0 for 3. Slices that foul and out of play. 2 balls, 2 strikes. For the most part, we saw this in spring training, and you'll have little glitches along the way, but Bautista really keeps the ball low in the zone and down.
I think he's going to get better at it too. The first couple weeks in spring training, he was a little bit off. He got better, as he should, in spring training and has better command. But like you said, he understands to keep that ball right down there. Keep the ball down there. Even if they do hit it, they pound it in the dirt.
Tough night for Walker, his 3rd strikeout.
You start hitting 400-500, drive in 7 runs, you start getting people's attention, they start pitching you with a little more respect. That's what Tony also loves is, he brought him in a tie game, Bautista. Now the Cardinals taking the lead, and look, he's really bowing his neck, really going out there pitching. That's a good pitch. And if it's a single, so what? It's 2 outs. You made them hit their way on. You talked about how the walks are killing Pittsburgh. Well, make them hit their way on. They've out-hit the Cardinals, whether it's 7-7 now in hits. But if you throw that ball right there, it's a 2-out base hit. And now, you can go and do your double switch. You can bring in your lefty. But Bautista, did his job. Sure, it'd be perfect if he had a 1-2-3 inning, but still, he did his job.
John Jay will be part of a double switch when we come back, and Miller coming in. 3-2 Redbird. Brought to you by Jack in the Box, where you can get anything on the menu any time of day. By Kia Motors and by Steel. Are you ready for a steal? Beautiful night here in downtown St. Louis. Day baseball tomorrow will come your way at noon. Unfinished business, though, tonight. The lefty Trevor Miller, the specialist, to face Lyle Overbay, with McCutchen, the runner, at first base.
I did the job on Thursday when he entered the game with the bases loaded and got through that deal. He had a great spring. He's had a great Cardinal career. And you talk about a guy durable. 542 appearances since 2003 to lead all major league lefties. Very good at stranding runners. And in this situation, well, even a little tougher. With a man on scoring position with 2 outs last year, he was almost unhittable. 1 for 14.
It's a double switch for the Cardinals. John Jay comes into the ball game, and he'll take over for Craig in left field. He'll be in the 6th spot in the lineup, so he'll lead it off for the Cardinals in the bottom of this inning, and Miller takes over Craig's spot in the 5th spot in the lineup. 1-0 pitch to Overbay. 1 ball, 1 strike. Overbay tonight, 2-run homer back in the 1st. He's grounded out and also single. Really, Al, the only mistake that McClellan made tonight was a hanging breaking ball in the 1st.
That was the only one. Really was. Yeah, he gave up some hits, but most of them were singles, and most of them were when he fell behind the count and wasn't going to give in. He only walked 1, but the only mistake was the hanging breaking ball, which is a rarity for him, especially against a left-handed batter.
Good pitch. Took something off it at 74 miles an hour.
Trevor has really progressed since he came to the Cardinals. He's always had this good slider, but he's had such great command of it. But he's really developed the confidence in throwing the fastball. It's not high octane, but he can spot it inside. Every left-handed hitter says, okay, Trevor Miller, I'm going to get a slider away. It's so important for them to think about trying to drive the ball out to left center. But they see that sweeping breaking ball, and all of a sudden, you're standing across the plate. So he's learned to throw some fastballs inside. An error in location there, but got away with it, as that ball did not get away. That's not bad. 259 when you're facing lefties. And Overbay is facing a lot of guys that are, the Koufax variety. Your better left-handers, so I mean he's not getting the easy assignments on lefties.
The specialist,
and then then you got to face all these lefty specialists late in the game. But I mean he stays in and he'll stay in and face a lot of your better left-handed starters too.
Right-hander getting loose in the bullpen for the Redbirds. It looks like Franklin. Yep. 2-2 the count here.
Now Laird calls a fastball. But he's going to still work the outside part of the plate with it. Good pitch. Doesn't get the call. I mean, it runs at 3-2, but that's great plate discipline for Overbay to lay off that one. That's why he has a fighting chance against left-handers, because he doesn't bail and he knows the strike zone.
Outfield is deep. McCutchen off with this pitch with his great speed. There he goes, and it's ball 4.
Really believe that Trevor will tell you he didn't want to get to 3-2 there, and most guys don't. But his idea is he's going to want to retire these left-handed batters. Now this would be a lot better matchup. A young, very talented, but a young, inexperienced hitter trying to hit this very good slider that should be away. Whatever he's going to throw, it'll be away.
Scoring position is McCutchen. First pitch, a strike.
Fastball. Now, every now and he's gone up there. They'll give him a sky report, and they'll sit there and say, man, you're going to get a ton of breaking balls. And so the first thing, you trick him with a fastball. One, he's not ready for it. And you'd be surprised how many times hitters will take that first fastball Not good location where he wanted it there, but it was just up and up. The low ball hitter, he gets away with that pitch. He swings through it. But Trevor will tell you is that, he was a bit lucky on that pitch. Now 0-2. He should not throw another strike. He should bury the ball away and just get a young hitter to get himself out.
Good pitch.
There's a good pitch. That's exactly what he wanted to do. And give Alvarez a little credit. He laid off of that one. But I'll bet if he throws the same pitch, he won't lay it off twice.
Alvarez has struck out twice and grounded into a real key 4-6-3 double play. And that was the final batter that McClellan saw back in the 6th inning. On 1-2. On the outside corner. Struck him out.
Throws him on a fastball. Perfect pitch away.
McClellan, 6 innings, 6 hits. He gave up 2 runs on the Overbay 2-run homer in the first. He walked 1 and strikes out 7. Kyle McClellan in the starting rotation. And final down the street, the Blues over the Avalanche by the score of 3-1. Blues have 2 games remaining in their regular season.
One final thought on Kyle McClellan. He's been a great reliever, and we're a little concerned of replacing his valuable innings in the bullpen. But what a great start. But here's somebody that people have forgotten because he's been around there the last 3 years. He's still only 23 years of age. It says here he won't turn 24 until May 24th or May 12th. I thought he was a little older than that, but that's what the media guide says.
Here's John Jay. We're going to have to find out tomorrow.
But that's what it says, right?
That's what you're not telling a lie.
So you're shocked like I was shocked.
But it also says he has no years of Major League service.
Oh, I didn't read that part, Dan. Okay, 3, so maybe he's 26.
Yeah. Jay hits it out of play.
Either way, he's a keeper.
And in baseball terms, he is relatively young.
And really, you just start coming into your own. Just really start making contributions at 25, 26. And it would be 3 years because they got his birth date at 87 and he was born in 84.
Attendance tonight, 33,666 here at the ballpark.
Not that we are ones to say that we are perfect. And not to say that this media guide has got every fact straight. I got even dark hair in my picture.
2-2 the count.
And you're 13.
Yeah. Jay, a ground ball hit to short. Cedeno charges and makes the play. Franklin continues to throw in the Cardinal bullpen. Jones, Jaramillo, and Cedeno, the three that are due up for Glenn Hurdle's club. Schumacher is 0 for 2. He walked back in the 6th.
Kyle McClellan throws like he's 26.
Now let's just turn the page. Let's look at the next player.
This player in the media guide has no major league experience, but somebody we're all looking forward to seeing.
Shelby Miller. Right down the middle. 1 ball, 1 strike on Skip. Did you have a chance to see him at all this spring?
No, I have not. Didn't get down there early enough.
I talked to a few of the Cardinals about it, and they said, you know, and no one likes to hear can't miss, but he's as close as can't miss as there is.
Well, he was a #1 draft pick a couple years ago. Last year's minor league pitcher of the year. Very, very conservative. A high school draft pick. Pitched 1 time in spring training. Was outstanding. Had to get him out of camp before he made the team.
I like those kind of guys.
But you know he's got he's got to go and learn. But a bright future.
2-2 hit to the left side. Alvarez. 2 outs. So here's a question for you. You were a guy that was called up at the age of 20, correct?
Yes.
At what point, and you know, you look at the Atlanta Braves and their great run, they would be fine bringing up a young pitcher. You look at Detroit a couple years ago. We saw Porcello pitch against the Cardinals, very young pitcher. At what point do you say, all right, let's give it a try. Let's bring him up here, and if he has failure, we send him back down, but let's see what we have.
Well, the philosophy is today, because you've got huge investments in some of these guys. Sometimes they're even able to parlay their contract to where they're on the major league roster anyway. And if you're pitching at Division I, like Strasburg or something like that, or we've seen Brett Wallace or some of the position players can get here quick. Bob Horner, there've been about 8 guys that came straight from the collegiate to the major leagues. But what allowed me to do it, a couple factors, but one is coming to the bullpen. I was a starter in the minor league, but it really does it retarded my growth as a complete pitcher. And and I got to the point where I became just a 1-pitch pitcher. And I had terrific movement on my fastball, so it became more than 1 pitch. But I never, my first year I had a great curveball, and then the second year when I started throwing that and I bounced it, I had a catcher that didn't call it. So I got to be a 1-pitch pitcher where I could get away with as a reliever, but it would have hurt me at the start.
Franklin coming in, trying to protect a 1-run lead. defense. Gerald Laird early on in this game getting the speedy McCutchen, who had 30-plus steals a year ago. The Home Depot doing more on defense. Well, you talked about the addition of Laird defensively. Very good addition as a backup. And now his night is through, so the Cardinals will turn it over to the #1 catcher, and that's Yadier Molina. He's behind the plate. And a new battery out there, and Ryan Franklin trying to close this out in a 3-2 game.
I think Tony's going for it all right here as he brings in the #1 catcher for the #1 closer, the Cardinals. Franklin blew a rare save. He only had 2 blown saves last season. Both of those were on the road, and he stopped a streak of 15 consecutive save conversions here at Busch Stadium. So he wants to atone for that. He didn't get the loss on opening day, but he did give up the home run that tied it. And then the Cardinals lost in extra innings.
Now, it looked like the game plan that afternoon on opening day was to be aggressive against Franklin. Remember, they were up there quickly. It was a line shot by Ludwig that was caught by Freese. A deep fly to left field. Then the center fielder, the Padres, put one over the wall in center.
Well, you know, Frankie's got a lot of pitches. He's not your classic blow it away or a real trick finesse type guy. Closer finesse than blow away closer. So in his mind, you know, it's like, hey, get ahead breaking ball. That's what was hit for a home run. And, you know,
Jay is there. 1 out.
It's a lot different with today, you know, and years ago when a lot of the old timers listened to Jack Buck and, you know, when you're trailing by 1 run, take the first pitch, strike. Well, that's what Frankie, you know, he's 37, 38 years of age. He's thinking, no, I'm going to get ahead. But today, Tony will tell you a lot of times, you know, it's like, hey, the first pitch may be the best pitch. But it was a get ahead breaking ball that did him in. And he learned from it. So now you see he'll attack the strike zone a little more aggressively. He'll throw the fastball down there. You know, a pitch down there, if they hit it, you know, they're going to pound it in the dirt. It may go through, but it's not going to leave the ballpark.
3-2 Cardinals lead. The 0-1 pitch on the outside corner.
See a little more intensity out there. You know, not that he wouldn't try an opening day, but I mean, he, you know, literally, Freese made a great play on the smash by Ludwig, as you said, then another hard hit ball. But it was just 2 strikes, no beyond, you know, just get ahead breaking ball. Now he's out there with a little more purpose behind and saying, you know, okay, you want to play that game, I'll be ready for you, and I'll give you a little bit of my better stuff, and not worry about trying to just get ahead breaking ball.
0-2 on Jaramillo, who singled and walked tonight.
Fastball in. Make sure it's way in. And a half, but Jaramillo, not really a power type guy, so. Fastball in, didn't want it. Be the splitter, wants him to bounce it. You say bounce it. Good pitch. Look at that. You know, he's swinging one-handed, way off balance. You can't drive that ball. Harder to make contact too when you're swinging off balance. It's a splitter. Molina once again down.
Got him. Strikeout of Jaramillo.
Very nice pitch right there.
Coming up next, it's the postgame show. Ricky and Pat standing by with the Missouri Lottery Cardinals Live postgame show.
Here's another little smart move by Molina right here. Just go out. Hey, it's just like opening day. You got the first 2 guys out. Now bear down. You know, just, you know, make sure you have that same intensity. Just go and attack the hitter. we always talk, hitters will say, if guys got a splitter, get the ball up. You cannot do anything with that. That ball, if it's coming in before it starts diving, it's knee high, you know it's going to be almost bouncing. So that's where you're just doing a favor right there. There's Domet. Good success.
Yeah, 3 for 5. 1-run lead.
See if he can throw that splitter again. It looks like he's got a good one, but I would say you work him away. He's got power. You have to respect it.
Up the middle, base hit.
That's okay. It's a single.
So the tying run is on at first base. The potential go-ahead run comes to the plate.
Domet's a good hitter. He's had success against Ryan Franklin, but that's the fun. Just go out there and compete. Pinch runner.
And that'll be Josh Rodriguez, infielder, backup infielder for Clint Hurdle.
I think he's a Rule 5 pick. They've had it, every year the Pirates can afford to take a Rule 5 pick and see if it works. There's still Steve Pierce, who has great power. So they're going right now. They're going up there with 2 outs. They're playing percentages of hitting the ball out of the ballpark, giving himself a lead.
Seen that Franklin is one of the best at keeping runners close.
Very tough to steal off of, and then you got a great thrower behind the plate. You just don't run off of this combination. They're looking for a first to third. They're looking for Pierce. Power, extra base power, drive the ball.
Two and 0.
The thing about Franklin is excellent control. He's not the kind of guy that's going to walk people. And he has the confidence that he can throw any of his 6 or 7 pitches for strikes at any count.
Two and 1.
And then you can throw an off-speed pitch when you're behind the count. You get a lot of young hitters.
Two one pitch. 2-2.
Let's take that little walk around there. Pierce, only 8 major league home runs in his career, but 92 minor league home runs. 290-plus minor league hitter. But he really got to make a mistake. And Franklin makes very few. Fastball away. Can he spot it? Down and away.
2-2. He got him. Cardinals hold on for the win. 3-2, the final tonight.
Everything's back to normal. Game-winning RBI by Albert. A save conversion for Frankie. A well-pitched game by Kyle McClellan.
Franklin gets that first save. The final of 3-2. Post-game show coming up on Fox Sports Midwest.